What is up, Outlap F1 Nation? This will be season 6, episode number 25 of the Outlap F1 podcast. It's our 2024 British, there we go, GP preview show. You've got Andy and I'm along with Cody tonight, and we are back to doing previews, so it's good to get back into that a little bit. Cody, it's been a long time since I've seen you, a whole whopping 36 hours, I think, something around that. But how have you been, and how you doing tonight, sir?
I've been all right, and there's the first big firework. Just heard it go, of course. Looking forward to having the day off tomorrow. There's nothing better than coming back from vacation and not having to work a full 5-day week. So very happy about that. And just looking forward to, good old barbecue, beer, some time off, and some good British Grand Prix.
Barbecue, beer, and British Grand Prix. Those are 3 Bs. I can subscribe to that. I am in on that as well. And we hope you are too. Also, if you're in the UK, happy pre-election day. Enjoy that tomorrow. All I would say is, if you are so inclined, go vote if you really want to. It's your chance to get your voice heard. You can't bitch, you can't vote. So go do that. We're going to go do that in a couple months. Yikes.
Oh, God.
But anyway, yeah. Yikes. I'm nervous, but anyway, we'll cross that when we get there. But that's not why you're all here. If you wanted us to talk politics, boy, have you picked the wrong horse. But we are here to talk F1. We're going to talk about the British Grand Prix. We're going to start by saying, I know I teased the Gilles Richards interview that was going to be hopefully part of the British Grand Prix. It is not. He had to reschedule. Why? He's working media day tomorrow. So we were technically scheduled at one point to try to do this tomorrow morning. That has now been pushed to next week. So it's going to come out as its own episode, which I think is actually going to be better for you guys because we can just focus on his book and a great conversation with him. And we're looking forward to that. We actually just locked it in. So stand by for next weekend. When we normally wouldn't be recording anything, we will have something for you. So we're super excited about all of that. And if you found our show, welcome, as David Croft would say. You can find us in other places too: Twitter or X, Instagram, Discord, Reddit, and of course on YouTube. At Outlap F1 Podcast is the handle for all of those places. If you enjoy what you're seeing and you like what you're hearing and you're on YouTube, you can do as the kids do and smash that subscribe button, or you can leave us a like. All of that helps us out a little bit. And if you're on your favorite podcasting app, a 5-star review also will help us out. Just allows us to come up a little bit better in search results, and people are looking for F1 stuff. We hope you enjoy what you're hearing and would appreciate it if you'd like to do that. You can email the show, chatnow@outlapf1.com. Thank you so much to the people who do support us monetarily, including Dean Warwick, Erie Dolchester, Paul Weaver, Quentin Warden, Kevin Kelly, Regan Stanzik, Timothy Brown, and of course, Jonathan Scott. If you'd like to become a member of that, hashtag Outlap F1 Nation. You can see our link tree. It's in our show notes. $1, $5. It's the anchor page. Actually, is the link to do that. All go into either investing in equipment that we already have to make it better, or investing in some new equipment to try to make the show work a little bit smoother, a little bit easier, that type of stuff. Things get upgraded as they all need to be. And final reminder, you can take 20% off and get free shipping from the good folks at Manscaped with our code OUTLAP. That's OUTLAP, all one word, if you'd like to peruse their wonderful line of product. All right, so we do have a bit of news just in the last couple of days that has dropped. I think the biggest story, shakeup at Aston Martin has started. Martin Whitmarsh, who was appointed like CEO a couple years, basically, I think last year he basically came into that he is now gone. He will be replaced by Mercedes Formula One engine chief Andy Cowell. Will replace Whitmarsh as the Aston Martin Group CEO effective October 1st. The team did announce this on Tuesday. Cowell is best known for overseeing the Mercedes high-performance powertrains division between 2013 and 2020, during which that division built the engines that led Mercedes to dominate in F1 and win the 7 double championships with both Lewis Hamilton and the team in that period. Cowell is saying, quote, "I'm thrilled to join Lawrence's exciting project and look forward to working with the talented group of people that has been assembled," is what he said in his official Aston Martin statement. So we had to know something had to give at Aston Martin. And apparently it starts at the top if you're Lawrence Stroll. They went with the biggest target I think you could find. I don't know that Martin Whitmarsh had any say in what they did with the car, but interesting that now we have change of foot at the Aston Martin team. Cody, what's your thought?
It's not that surprising, I suppose, considering Aston Martin has gone backwards, the F1 team, considerably since last year when it was all looking nice and rosy and we thought we might actually see Fernando Alonso win. As you said, going right for the top, I think it's kind of interesting that we've got a person who is involved in the Mercedes engines before coming in right as we're about to switch, I guess not right about to, but coming up on that engine formula shakeup and even closer to when the teams can really start working on all that. So I think it will be interesting. I've got to wonder how much other personnel is going to change over at Aston Martin, because Lawrence Stroll kind of strikes me as the type where if things aren't going the way that he wants, he's just going to erase everything and start all over and hope it goes better.
Yeah, and I would imagine that I think his primary, the draw to him is to help Honda, get into these new set of regulations. As we know, Honda is now going to be the exclusive supplier of engines to Aston Martin, moving away from Mercedes. So I think trying to build a bridge between the two is super important. And it looks like Andy Cowell's got the technical know-how, at least on paper. So we're going to kind of see how that dynamic plays out. So it'll be interesting to watch. Does that have any effect? And you're right. Does it have any knock-on effect? Do we see other engineers? We know that they've been in talent acquire mode for the past couple of years, trying to take people from places like Red Bull, Mercedes, others. So we're going to have to see kind of what they end up doing. But yeah, that was a big shakeup. That I did not have that on my bingo card, certainly for this week for sure. All right, our next story. The wind tunnel allocations have now completely changed, or changed slightly, I guess, not really. But we've gone into our 2024 allocation. The 2023 results now do not affect any more of who gets what in the wind tunnel. Red Bull remains at the 70% as they continue to be in P1 in the constructors. Ferrari and McLaren move up to the 75% and 80% brackets, so they lose some wind tunnel time. The VCARB team moves from 105% down to 95%. And I think the biggest loser in all this is actually Haas, because they were last in the constructors last year. Now they're up to 7th. So they lose some of their wind tunnel allocations. This is sort of supposed to be the great equalizer. I don't know how much teams really feel on this, but I'm sure it matters. Otherwise, I don't think we would be talking about it at all. But any thoughts on the wind tunnel allocations reset?
I think it's it's going to hurt Red Bull maybe a little bit that they're still in the 70% for wind tunnel time, especially since now they don't have such a dominant lead anymore. So they could probably use just about every second of wind tunnel time that they can muster, but they're still at the low end on that. So if anything, I think it's going to give the teams that are catching up even more of an opportunity to keep catching up. And yeah, as far as Haas losing out, hopefully that doesn't affect them too much for the rest of the season, because I'm really enjoying seeing Nico Hulkenberg and Kevin Magnussen doing crazy stuff, getting crazy penalties to get those points. So I'd like it to keep going.
Crazy strategy, the way to go for Haas. I like the idea, and I think they've kind of done some of that. And that's like I would always say before. I think that was always classic Haas: throw the dice, throw the set of full wets on, and see what happens. And they did that, and we saw what happened. They just missed the end of it there. But anyway, Yeah, I do think it's interesting that this kind of comes up now. It's just we are. I think you mentioned it in our last episode. We're getting to that halfway point of the season, and it really kind of does feel like we're now kind of turning the page to now the second half of 24. We're going to see probably a lot of the final upgrade pushes coming through in the next few weeks, and now they're going to have less time in the wind tunnel. So if you had a package, get it on your car now. Let's see what it does. And at some point, they're going to just kind of say, well, we're pretty much locked in. We got to go with what we have. So this is just yet another thing is, the calendar continues to churn and burn. All right. So focusing a little bit more on the British Grand Prix itself, one story that did come out. I don't know how surprising this is, but it's nice to see for the guy who's going to get the FP1 drive. F2 racer Franco Calapinto will make his FP1 debut this weekend in the Williams, replacing Logan Sargent in FP1. So if you want to read some tea leaves here, I would imagine you would probably say Logan Sargent's time in the Williams seems to be lessening, and now he doesn't have an FP1 drive at a track that he does tend to go relatively well here. So, Cody, thoughts on Calapinto in and Sargent out?
Not really surprising that Sargent is out. I mean, you can't read too much into it because all of the teams at some point have to let those junior drivers in for free practice sessions, whether they've got dominant drivers or not. So, but it is a little telling that Logan Sargent is the one that's going to be sitting on the sidelines. We've been saying it for a while now that his performance is not of high enough quality to really warrant being in the seat next year. The writing's been on the wall for a while, and this is just driving it even further home.
Yeah, I mean it fits. I mean, I wish I could come up with some scenario where like Logan's getting a raw deal. I don't think he's getting a raw deal. I think it's just kind of you made the point actually quite well. This is all teams have to do this. They're choosing to do it now. Maybe they have some setup work that they want to dedicate an FP1 to. Now that it's not a sprint weekend, they can work on the car, which is something Williams needs every minute of their track time to be productive and useful. They cannot afford a crash in practice, and Logan sometimes has a tendency to do that sometimes. So, and it's supposed to be funky weather all weekend long, so maybe that also plays into it slightly, especially given what happened in Canada the last time we saw full wet tires and all that other fun stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I think it just kind of makes sense. But yeah, we'll see where this goes, and we'll see what they do in that FP1 session, which is just around the corner. It's our last leg of the triple header. It's the British Grand Prix. We're just going to go straight into our green flag segment. We'll just set up the track facts, and then we'll take the break, and then we'll do our predictions on what we think is going to happen. But Cody, if you'd like to tell us about Silverstone.
All right, this weekend is the British Grand Prix held at one of my favorite tracks, the Silverstone circuit, located in Northamptonshire. Number of laps around for the Grand Prix is 52, and the length of the circuit is 5.891 kilometers. Tire compounds from Pirelli for this race are the C1, C2, and C3 compounds, and the Pirelli track facts are a 3 out of 5 for traction, 2 out of 5 for braking, 5 out of 5 for lateral load, 5 out of 5 for tire stress, 2 out of 5 for track evolution, 4 out of 5 for asphalt grip, 2 out of 5 for asphalt abrasion, and a 4 out of 5 for downforce. The qualifying lap record for the circuit was a 1 minute 24.303 seconds, and that was set by Max Verstappen in 2020. And the race lap record of 1 minute 27.097 seconds was also set by Max Verstappen in the same year. Most wins out of the current drivers on the track at the Silverstone circuit is going to go to a favorite of the British folks, Lewis Hamilton, with a whopping 8 wins here, followed far back by Fernando Alonso out of the active drivers. He's only got 2, so quite a ways back. And then a tie between Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz with 1 win apiece. going historical now, full history. Most constructor wins in Silverstone, it goes to Ferrari. Or is this, perhaps this is for all the British Grand Prix?
I think
We'll
this
check
is
on that for you.
Yeah, I think this is all of them.
Oh, okay, excellent. So all out of all wins in Great Britain, Ferrari takes the prize here with 18 wins, followed by McLaren with 14, Williams with 10, Mercedes with 9, Red Bull with 4, and Renault with 2. What's the circuit like, Andy?
All right, at the 2018 British Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton compared a flat-out lap around Silverstone to flying a fighter jet, which should tell you all you need to know about the Northamptonshire circuit. Despite numerous changes to the layout over the years, Silverstone has always maintained its essential character as one of the fastest tracks on the F1 calendar, while historic corners like Beckett's, and Abbey provide some of the biggest challenges for drivers racing anywhere in the world. As for the weather, and it looks like it's going to be classic British summer stuff, cool, cloudy, slightly rainy for qualifying on Saturday. Showers in the morning, then partly cloudy in the afternoon. Very cool, high only 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds out of the west at 15 to 25, so that is very gusty. Chance of rain is 60% for the day. As for the race on Sunday, cloudy with occasional rain showers. That's super accurate. A high of 63 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds out of the southwest at 10 to 15. A 50% chance of rain. You couldn't have played that more in the middle, Weather Channel, if you tried. But anyway, we're going to see if weather does play a factor in the race or the weekend.
And never been to Great Britain, but cloudy with occasional rain showers. From what I understand, sounds like just about every day.
Sounds like when I was in northern Wisconsin, to be honest with you. That's kind of what I had when I was there. So I guess that's probably the best equivalent to what I would think it would be like to live there. But anyway, so we're going to take a quick break. We're going to stop. We're going to re-rack. We'll come back, and we're going to get into what we think is actually going to happen in the course over the course of the weekend. We've got all our predictions in. They're very interesting, so you won't want to miss that. We'll also get you set up on when and where to watch your F1 this weekend and set up this British Grand Prix. So come on back, and we'll hop back into it. All right, welcome back in. This is Season 6, Episode 25 of the Outlap F1 podcast. It's our 2024 British Grand Prix preview episode. You've got Andy, and I'm along with Cody tonight, and we are going to now get into our predictions and try to figure out what we think may actually happen in the British Grand Prix, or we're going to be way, way, way off, as would have been the case last week had we actually tried to do predictions, because I did not have George Russell in my bingo card, and I don't think you would have either. But anyway, we shall start, as we are always apt to do, with the pole sitter. And last year's pole sitter was Max Verstappen. Cody, I like your selection here personally. What do you have?
Yep, you're going to find, as we go through these predictions, that perhaps I am leaning more into what I want to happen than what I really think is going to happen. And what I really want to happen is to see a British team with a British driver win the British Grand Prix. So I'm going to go with Lando Norris getting the pole this time around.
All right. As much as I want to see that, but trust me, I will be pulling for that, and you will hear me do a hoot and a holler if your prediction comes true. I can't predict it. I think it's going to be one of those like crazy close things where it's like a 100th or a 10th or something not in it. But I think Max is going to pull out that last sector one more time. It's going to be really close. It's going to be a fun battle. I'm jacked for this qualifying session, especially if it's slightly wet. But I got Max Verstappen taking the pole position here. All right, so the lap time. This is actually interesting, especially what we want to see with the weather. Last year's pole lap time was a 1:26.720. I'll go first here. I'm going to say, given the forecast that I read, I think it's going to be dry by the time they do qualifying. So I do think we're going to see some normal running on the C3 soft tire this weekend. So I've got a 1:26.225 for my lap time. Cody, what you got?
I guess you could say I kind of hedged against you a little bit in this one because I figure half a second faster is probably if it's going to be totally dry. So I'm still predicting a little faster than last year just because these cars seem to be heading in that direction. But I'm going to go with maybe it's a little wet. So maybe they won't go that fast and I'll win this one even if they go slower than last year. So I'm going to go 1 minute 26.453.
You are doing the Price is Right strategy of betting $1. Coming over the top of me there. And that's smart. I mean, that's good. I committed a little early.
Every once in a while, I wonder if we should have like a rule in this where if we're off by more than a second, nobody gets the points. But then I worry that we could have a weekend where neither one of us gets any points, and that would be a little embarrassing.
That's exactly why I'm keeping the lap times the way that they are, because at least it's guaranteed somebody's going to score one. We're either going to tie at one if we have a complete craptacular weekend. We will either draw 1-1 or someone will win 2-0. It's one of those scenarios. So there's guaranteed points in here. There's a reason I have that. But anyway, we're now getting into our podium predictions. Last year's race winner was Max Verstappen. Not actually that far ahead of Lando Norris. It's only 3 seconds at the end of the race. And Lewis Hamilton, of course, was chasing Lando Norris late in that race, unable to get there, but he did come home in P3. So a double British Grand Prix podium there. Here's where I'm going to go total homer. He makes up for it. I said last time out what I wanted to see happen was Max somehow take the pole and Lando take it from him at the start. That's what I'm going to predict is going to happen. I got Lando Norris coming home to take the victory. He's going to hopefully control it and keep Max behind him. All good pit stops, no issues there. And if they do fight, I think Lando's going to come out on top this time because I think he's earned his stripes over the course of the last couple of weeks. So I got Norris in P1, Verstappen P2. At some point, Ferrari have to be good again. So I do think Charles Leclerc seems to like this track. They do tend to go pretty well around here. So I'm going to give it to Charles Leclerc for P3.
Very nice. My predictions are very similar to you. And I'm realizing for these predictions, I'm probably actually wearing the wrong cap for where I'm going with all this. But I'm also going with Lando Norris taking home the win here. I'm hoping for something really popular that really, gets that really good feel-good moment for the season going. So Norris on top. If he's not winning, he's probably going to be in second. So it would be Max Verstappen in P2. And I'm going even maybe a little more homer than you. I'm going with Piastri rounding out the podium.
I would love to see it. I will be a very happy bunny. I'll be bouncing up and down if that thing comes true. And you'll get my text. I guarantee you, you'll definitely see it if that comes true. So let's hope. All right, turning now to the fastest lap and the driver. Last year's fastest lap time was set by Max Verstappen with a 1:30.275. I'm going to go homer here. I'm going to say Lando Norris gets that done. And I think he's going to be slightly slower because I think it's going to be cooler, windy, all that sort of good stuff. I don't think the race lap pace is going to be as fervent. So I got a 1:30.569. Cody, what you got?
After seeing what happened last race where Alonso went with the screw you fastest lap, I see a lot more of that potentially happening in the future because I don't see that Aston Martin being good enough to fight for points. So Alonso might get his kicks out of taking that point away from others. So I'm going to go with Alonso for fastest lap in Great Britain with a 1:30 flat.
Set of soft tires late. Obviously not in the points. So, more pain for Aston Martin. And do we see more of sarcastic Fernando? If we do, again, that'll be a talking point for sure. All right, so our bonus picks, I've selected P5, P7, and P10. So a good smattering of the points-paying positions. So I'm going to go first with this one. I'm going to say Oscar Piastri comes home in P5. I'd love to see him a little bit higher up. I think he can do it, but I'm being a little safe in my predictions here. P7, I think this is legit now. This is where I see Sergio Perez if I'm actually looking at data, which is kind of scary. So I'm going to put him in P7. And for P10, I'm going to keep the good vibes from Austria going, man. And I'm going to put Nico Olkenberg to get another point for Haas coming home in P10. Cody, what are your thoughts for bonus picks?
I've got, and kind of with the same feelings that you had about Piastri, about hoping that he's higher up. But I do have Lewis Hamilton taking P5. I really hope that he's higher up than that. It would be very popular to see him on the podium again. But I've got him in 5th. And you can definitely tell that it's for real with Perez right now, because you and I are in agreement that he's going to be coming in that 7th position, which ironically enough would, I think probably be better than some of his these recent weeks, 8th and a lot of retirements lately. So 7th might actually just be par for the course right now. And then hoping that Daniel Ricciardo can get out a couple more points, or a single more point, I suppose, by coming in P10.
All right, very good. That P10 may be the decisive factor of these predictions, considering how close we are and all the rest of it. So, be interesting if that's the deciding factor. All right, so for our prop bet, I can't sing the It's Coming Home song, but if Lando wins, I will sing the It's Coming Home song. I'll just put that out there right now. I'll learn it, and I will do my best to do my vocal pipes on a broadcast. But does it come home for Team GB? So that could be Lando Norris, George Russell, or Lewis Hamilton. Considering we already predicted Lando winning, I think we both have universal yeses here, correct?
Yes, we do have universal yeses. I briefly thought about hedging my bet, but I'm feeling it, man. I think that Norris really has a good chance. Or maybe he and Max will take each other out, and then Russell will take it again, and it'll still be a British victory. So.
Yeah, I do think that there's good opportunities if it's not Lando or Max. If it's not Lando for whatever reason, I do think Lewis Hamilton could definitely pull out something special. In his last race in Mercedes, he's going to be as motivated as he can to pull something out. The same thing with George Russell. You inherit a win, you're the big guy in the paddock now for the next week or so. There's nothing to say he can't capitalize and do something special there too. So I am feeling the British vibes. I don't think it's going to be British pressure, but British momentum. So I will say yes here as well. All right, and we'll see how all of that works, and then we'll come back on Sunday and see how wrong we really were. But anyway, where and when can you watch your F1 this weekend? So if you are in the U.S., F1 TV, of course, and of course the ESPN family of networks. And this one is always kind of odd that it's not on the bigger channels, but I guess that's just what they do. So FP1 will kick off 7:25 a.m. Eastern. That is on ESPNU. FP2 will be 10:55 a.m. Eastern. That again, ESPNU. Switching to Saturday, those sessions are all on ESPN2, with FP3 starting out super early in the U.S., 6:25 a.m. Eastern, if you are so inclined to catch that one. That's also on ESPN2. Qualifying, 9:55 a.m. Eastern, so I think around the same time as it was last week, at least the main session, ESPN2 for that. And the race on Sunday, I believe it's an hour later. 9:55 a.m. Eastern, so 9 o'clock lights out for the central time in the U.S. Also, ESPN2 would be your destination to catch all of that. I also think there is an F1 Kids alternate broadcast. I want to say that will be on ESPNU if you are so inclined. I do believe David Croft will be back. I know last week Harry Benjamin was on the Sky broadcast, and I thought he actually did a hell of a job. It was actually a quite nice broadcast to listen to all the way around. But you can also catch Alex Jakes and David Coulthard and those guys on the F1 TV stream as well. So you got your choices as to who you want to do your broadcast and who you want to get it from. So, Cody, any final thoughts before we break for the weekend?
To anybody who's listening from the USA, enjoy your 4th of July. Please get through it with all of your fingers intact. And yeah, hope you're conscious and recovered enough on by Sunday, to watch the British Grand Prix.
Yeah, celebrate your love for the land by blowing up a small part of it, not you. So please be careful with the fireworks. Playing with fire is exactly that. You're playing with fire. Don't forget that. Imbibe if you are so inclined. Enjoy friends, enjoy family, but be safe throughout it. We want you to all come out of this on the other side all good. And yeah, like Cody said, if you want to be a little hungover and watch a British Grand Prix, let's do that. It's a great hangover cure. Watching Formula One cars going around a historic circuit. What a way to wake up. I will totally be down for all of that. So we will be back on Sunday night, most likely, to recap all of the action and the fallout and the drama and the melodrama from a British Grand Prix weekend that looks like it's going to be dripping with it. If there are any driver announcements, stay tuned to our social media. We will bring those to you as they happen. And then, like we said before, next week we've got our interview with Jill Richards all set up. We actually hit the final button on the confirmation today. So it is set. We're going to do that. We're going to bring that to you next weekend. So we are super excited about that. So for Cody, it's been Andy. Like I said before, like we all said before, have a fun, safe 4th if you're in the U.S. Have a fun, safe election if you're in the U.K. And as always, may all your laps be fast.